Okay, just to recap cellular respiration, we've got three stages: glycolysis, the citric acid cycle, and then the electron transport chain, also known as oxidative phosphorylation. So with the first stage here, this is happening in the cytosol, okay? Glycolysis is when we've got glucose being converted into pyruvate, and we've got two ATPs being produced. The pyruvate then moves into the mitochondria, okay? Then we have acetyl coenzyme A being produced. We've then got the citric acid cycle, that second step, okay? This citric acid cycle is producing two ATP molecules. And the important thing to notice here is that electrons are transferred from the citric acid cycle to the electron transport chain by these electron carriers, the NAD and the FAD, okay? They have NADH because they've got the hydrogen bound to it, okay, and then the FADH2 because the hydrogen is bound to the FAD electron carrier. All right, so then these are moving here to the electron transport chain, okay, and here we have 34 ATP molecules being produced. Okay, overall, the electron transport chain has or produces the most amount of ATP because of its increase in surface area of the cristae foldings. So 34 plus 2 plus 2 is 38 ATP molecules produced with cellular respiration. Okay, so there are two things that can happen with respiration. They can either go into a anaerobic respiration phase, or they can go into an aerobic respiration phase. We've just talked about aerobic respiration, where there is a plentiful supply of oxygen. Okay, and we can see that we've got the Krebs cycle, also with the electron transport chain with lots of oxygen. If we don't have any oxygen, then we don't have that much ATP being produced with cellular respiration. So we can see here that the citric acid cycle and the electron transport chain is oxygen dependent. Okay, that means it relies on oxygen in order for it to produce ATP and be efficient. Glycolysis can occur if there is oxygen or if there is no oxygen. That will still take place. Okay, so we're going to compare aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So when oxygen is limited, the last two steps are bypassed. Okay, so if there's no oxygen, the citric acid cycle and the electron transport chain do not take place. Lactic acid in animals, or ethanol and carbon dioxide in yeasts and higher plants, is made instead. Okay, so instead of those two last stages, we've got lactic acid or ethanol being produced. Now, too much of this is actually toxic for the organism. The last point here, less energy is created by these processes. Okay, so with anaerobic respiration, we've only got 2 ATP being produced. It's pretty much nothing. Okay, whereas we've got 38 with aerobic respiration. This is a lot more efficient than this one. Okay, so fermentation, pyruvic acids being converted into acetaldehyde, okay, and then is going into ethanol in this case. If we've got the lactic acid being produced, okay, pyruvic acid is being converted into lactic acid. We don't need to know about this, it's just to point out those two differences.